Hey everyone, Matt from Soundrolling.com. It's just about to start to rain, but home today, so doing lots of post-production. But I wanted to talk a bit about room tone. So room tone is essentially what we need for the dialogue edit, and it helps bridge gaps between one take and another take. Because obviously the passage of time and things changing in the background, it's always good to have clean room tone, but then I'll show you some really cool tricks in post-production that you can do to extend that room tone. Now, you kind of want at least 10 to 30 seconds of kind of clean track, especially if you get some planes, for instance, or there's the sound of rain, which you might be able to hear, I don't know. But also it's good if you can try and get a kind of a bit of a pause before everyone's set and the director says action. Those 2 seconds can obviously help as well. Just build up, essentially, a more accurate picture of the room tone at that current point. Because obviously if you do, let's say we start at 8 AM and we're shooting outside and then we go to 5 PM, you want to try and get lots of different sections of room tone as the kind of landscape changes throughout the day. So let's go into post-production and just see, with a cool little trick with RX5, what we can do to increase that room tone even more. But first, let me get some room tone right here, right now. And then using a different location just so we can bridge the gap between the previous room tone and this room tone.
So what I've done is obviously I've got the clip before and I've got the clip after and I've got loads of room tone, but obviously you can do this with a slight amount of room tone. Then we go over to the RX ambience match and we learn what that is. And so that is the spectral frequency of the room tone that we're using. So when I go to then change location, as you can see over here, before and then after, look at those screenshots, amazing. But what I can do is then I can select an amount and then I can render, and I've literally rendered this room tone that I selected before. So what that means is I can obviously turn that up and down and you can see more of the waveform. But what this means and allows us to do is essentially bridge the gap between the previous room tone and the later room tone. And then when we play it together, if I am able to try and enable my speakers.
And then using a different location just so we can bridge the gap between the previous room tone and this.
So now you shouldn't be able to tell a difference between the current room tone and the previous room tone, even though I've gone from the back of my house to the front of the house.
And then using a different location just so we can bridge the gap between the previous room tone and this room tone.
So, regardless of obviously the take, I mean the best kind of slice of dialogue is going to be those little pauses. And then you're going to be able to use that as room tone and then essentially render as much as you like to be able to blend takes. And again, this is important whether you're using radio mics or whether you're using normal stuff, because then you're able to blend the boom room tone and you're able to blend the radio mic room tone. It's important that obviously you use the right room tone together. We can get into a whole separate subject as to how to mix dialogue together, but again, leave your comments below about what you want to hear about and what you want to know, and then I'll obviously answer those questions as we do this daily thing, which is I think going pretty well. So hit like, you can subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.